Good evening, everybody, and welcome. I'm Angela Nardo-Morgan, Development Director for Marine Conservation Institute, and we're streaming live tonight I'm in Northern California, the Bay Area, and it's a beautiful, gorgeous night, and I hope that wherever you are in the world, it's equally as beautiful. We are so delighted that you are joining us tonight at our pre-event cocktail hour featuring culinary host and mixologist Dusky Estes to help us celebrate and raise a glass to our Blue Parks program. Before I introduce Dusky, I want to thank all of our sponsors, Navis, Chanticleer, Sandcloud, Happy Little Whales, and Black Pig Meat Company, and to all of you who have so generously donated already. Your support has some real power tonight because you will double your giving. All of your donations will be generously matched by our amazing Marine Conservation Institute Board of Directors. We have a few special prizes to give away tonight, and our first prize is going to be for the most beautiful and imaginative cocktail photo. And you can share that on Instagram with us. And another prize later in the evening for the most striking ocean attire. So get your costume out. And yes, you can dress up and enter your pet. We don't even care if it's a fish. So to enter, be sure and send your pictures in the link below. We're also featuring an amazing silent auction with some outstanding items. We have several vacation homes, one in Ashland, Oregon, just a few blocks from the renowned Shakespeare Festival, a gorgeous home on the Mediterranean island of Corsica. Yes, you heard that right, Corsica in France, a cozy cottage in the Sierra foothills, and a beautiful ski chalet in Mount Hood, Oregon. We have a stunning metal sculpture you can see right now on the screen, biking, sailing trips, some beautiful artwork, wine, dinners, gift baskets, and so much more. The link below will take you to our auction site. And you can also access all the links you need for the evening on the Give Butter page that you're viewing right now by just scrolling down. I want to stop here for just a minute to acknowledge our incredible team who are working diligently behind the scenes right now to make all of this magic happen tonight. Hannah Hindley, Madeline Sarkissian, Mike Gravitz, and Russ Moffat. I love you guys and so appreciate the hours and hours of talent, hard work, and dedication you have put into all of this tonight. And thank you all so much for being here tonight. You will not be disappointed as we have an incredible lineup of inspiring ocean luminaries, from renowned documentary filmmaker Ian Shive to champion of the deep sea Sylvia Earle. So stay put and get your cocktail ingredients ready. Marine Conservation Institute has been working for over 25 years, saving wild ocean places, and is an organization that leads with the highest standards of science. I have had the privilege of working with a passionate team of the best and brightest in the field of marine science, dedicated to finding solutions to some of the biggest challenges facing the ocean today. Tonight, we are honoring Blue Parks. Blue Parks are a growing network of marine protected areas that are the most sacred and diverse ocean sanctuaries in the world. These parks have been established to conserve and protect precious and threatened ecosystems and other uses. And these areas are critical for maintaining the planet's resilience to climate change. I really think most of us know that healthy oceans, climate change, the global pandemic, food systems, and social and racial injustice are all interconnected. And that is why we are thrilled to partner tonight with Dusky Estes. We've known Dusky for many years. Our kids went to the same school. And those of you, especially in the Bay Area, will know Dusky as a Food Network celebrity and culinary icon. But Dusky is also a humanitarian who has devoted her life to feeding and nourishing the hungry. Dusky's a graduate of Brown University, and although she majored in pre-med and pre-law, we're very lucky that she chose a career instead as a chef. Early in her career, Dusky worked in a variety of mission-driven roles at places like Share Our Strength and the White House, and she even ran the kitchen at the famous Glide Memorial Church in San Francisco, feeding up to 3,000 people a day. And for that, we are really grateful here in the Bay Area, Dusky, for that. That was amazing. And during the devastating California wildfires, Dusky, along with a crew of friends, cooked thousands of meals for first responders, firefighters, and many others who lost their homes and were evacuated. She was executive chef at famous restaurants along the way, including at a Seafood, Dahlia Lounge, and the Palace Kitchen in Seattle, where she was voted Seattle City Best Chef and received the prestigious James Beard Award. Dusky, with her husband John Stewart, operated Zazu Restaurant until 2019, when the restaurant was lost due to the flooding of the Russian River. It was one of the top 10 restaurants in the Bay Area and in the San Francisco Michelin Guide for over a decade. Dusky's an avid farmer, raising rabbits, chickens, duck, sheep, pigs, and goats, and vegetables, and her restaurant was a model of sustainability dedicated to ethical sourcing and advocacy for small farmers. She was a fierce competitor in Food Network's Iron Chef, and she's currently a star on Guy's Grocery Games. She and her husband, John, run Black Pig Meat Company. And I got to tell you, they make the best bacon ever. And if you're looking for a delicious and sustainable Christmas gift, go to their website, run to their website, and order now before they sell out. It's amazing. Their company specializes in ethically raised pigs sourced directly from small farms, and it uses the entire animal, snout to tail. Dusky recently became executive director of Farm to Pantry, and she's taken her career back in the direction of fighting food insecurity, especially at a time right now when it is so needed. So please join Marine Conservation Institute in partnership with Dusky Estes, our celebrity mixologist and true Renaissance woman, mother, scholar, diver, chef, farmer, and food advocate, as she helps us all create our new Blue Spark cocktail and invites you to raise a glass to healthy oceans, healthy food, and a healthy future for our blue planet. Dusky.
Thank you so much, Angela. Thank you for the kind words. I'm thrilled to be here with you all tonight in order to work on saving the seas. It is something I actually very much care about. When I was in high school and college, I always did sports that took me into the water. So I was a swimmer all through high school, and then I was a coxswain on a rowing team in college. And so I was always a big fan of anything that took me into the water. And when my family went on vacations for my whole life, we went scuba diving all over the world. And so how I got to see my father in the summers was that he took me to the most amazing places to scuba dive. So you can imagine, once I had my own children, it was my dream to take them scuba diving with me. And so we actually went to a place called Pig Beach in the Bahamas, which is a place where the pigs actually swim. They have their own island. And that's a picture of us actually on Pig Beach hanging out with those pigs. And I took my girls scuba diving. We had, my husband got certified and my two daughters got certified. And when we went down, I have to tell you, it was tragic. There we are under there, but you can sort of see the colors are not very vibrant under there. And basically we would see graveyards of dead coral and much less, beautiful, brilliant fish than I remembered seeing when I was a kid. And so for them to not really see why I always talked about how amazing it was underneath, it was tragic, because I felt like, how can we teach this next generation to save something that they have no idea what it really once was? So with that, no further ado, I want you to know that your efforts here with the Marine Conservation Institute are very important. We must do everything we can to turn climate change around, and that's what I'm now doing with my work with Farm to Pantry. What I do now is glean produce from Sonoma County's farms and make sure it goes to people in need. And so we say, nothing left behind and no one left behind. So as you may know, food waste is a major cause also to climate change. So with that, I want to get busy to get cocktails in your glass and get this party started. So what you're going to do, I have a cocktail shaker, of course, but if you don't, you can always use a mason jar with a lid. You don't need fancy gear. But so I have my cocktail shaker. The first thing I'm going to do is load it with ice. And then I'm going to take a lime and squeeze a half of a lime, fresh juice. And then we go a ½ ounce of elderflower liqueur, like Saint Germain, and a ½ ounce of blue curacao. And then a full ounce of gin. And I'm using a local gin tonight, Sip Song Spirits by my friend Tara in Healdsburg. It's amazing local gin. So stay local with everything you do, everything you eat and drink. It makes a difference. So 1 ounce of the gin. And then I'm going to shake this up. And now let's talk about garnishes a little bit. So one of the garnishes I'm going to show you in 2 different glasses what you can do. So one is just a little shorty glass, and I have this fancy ice cube maker where you can make like a big cube of ice. So I've made a big cube of ice to put in here for one of my cocktails, and I'm using a coupe glass for the other. Of course, my dog wants to hang out with the party. So I'm going to put a little bit of the lime around the rim, and then I've put a plate here with some sugar on it, and I'm going to add some edible glitter because that'll make the rim sparkle. And you can get edible glitter on Amazon. It looks like this. It's a little, and you can get it in colors too if you wanted it in blue yourself, but I kind of like just the silver shiny. And so after you run your rim with the lime, you can then garnish the rim of your glass with the glitter. So then I'm going to put a little bit of this so you just strain your mixer in there. So in both cases, you can see I have just a little bit in there, and I have plenty of room for sparkling wine. And of course, you know me, I'm going to use a local sparkling wine. So today I'm going to use Pachyderm. Well, it's actually, this is from, if you can believe it, Pachyderm Cellars, which is Les Claypool's and Cheney's brand on 116. They actually make a champagne rather than a sparkling wine. They make this in France and bring it over. So I highly recommend stopping by 116 and getting yourself a bottle. And so then I'm just going to top. So this is a riff on a French 75, but of course it had to be blue tonight. And then I want to talk to you about a couple other possible garnishes, because you can do any garnish that you have. I happen to have borage that I grow outside, so I'm going to float a couple of those in my cocktail. And if you want, you can slice lemons really thin like this and then dehydrate them overnight and they become a chip. Or have you ever seen a finger lime? It's about the size of your pinky and you can cut it lengthwise so it looks like this now. And these are lime jewels, or some people call it lime caviar. Basically, it's the beautiful segments of citrus with no membrane. And so I also call them lime pop rocks, actually, because they're crunchy little bits of lime. So you can take a spoon and scrape it out and add it to your cocktail. I think that Angela got some of these from Amazon, actually. But I got mine from a farmer friend of mine who works for UC Extension in Santa Rosa. Her name is Mimi, and she had some in her backyard when I was looking. So here you go. Can you see my cocktail, Angela? Have you gotten yours ready?
Yes, I got mine ready.
Awesome. Thanks to you and to the Marine Conservation Institute. Let's make tonight blast and work. Thank you.
This is so delicious. I really didn't think I was going to like a blue cocktail. I hope you at home had a chance to make this. It's amazing. Thank you so much for collaborating with Marine Conservation Institute to create this amazing and delicious new drink to celebrate blue parks. We're really honored to call you a friend. I'm speechless here, and a partner. So let's all raise a glass together to toast Blue Parks and Marine Conservation Institute tonight. And remember that no matter where you live, every one of us relies on a healthy ocean to survive. To Dusky and our new Blue Spark cocktail. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.
Delicious. Dusky, do you have any questions that came over your Instagram that you would like to answer? And if not, I have a few questions for you.
Maybe you can ask. That would be awesome.
You know, when we've known each other a while, and I know that you mentioned that your dad took you all over the world diving, just so many different places. And I'm wondering, did you have a favorite place in particular or a memory that you'd like to share with us that was just meaningful to you or fun or that, great memory?
Well, for me, the great memories, of course, the dog was not with me at that point in time. One of my favorite places that we went was the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. And we spent 2 weeks first horseback riding in the Smoky Mountains. It was incredible. And then we spent a week scuba diving. And so it was the most incredible time in Australia. And I do hope one day that I can entice my kids to get back there. But obviously we have some work to do to save it all. And I'm glad you're at the helm.
Thank you. Thank you. Do you have any questions you want to answer, or should we move along, do you think? Yes? You're good. Okay, we have just a few minutes before we are so indebted to Dusky. Thank you again. I hope everybody's enjoying their Blue Spark cocktail. It's delicious. We just have a few minutes before our main gala starts, and we would love to give you all a quick glimpse into some of the projects that Marine Conservation Institute is currently focused on. And here's Dr. Sam Georgian and his work with seamounts.
Hi, I'm Dr. Sam Georgian, marine ecologist, deep sea explorer, and sea mountaineer. I work with the Marine Conservation Institute team in Seattle. We believe that one of the best ways to protect our changing ocean is by communicating the problems. Our Seamount short films bring understanding of these incredible underwater volcanoes to the public, the first step in saving them. Your contributions to this project will aid in the mission to protect our spectacular seamounts by bringing them into the global spotlight. Won't you join me in saving these unique and precious ocean places? Thank you.
Mountains create entire ecosystems, habitats, and weather. Undersea mountains, called seamounts, do the same. Hidden in the dark, deep ocean, they're essential to life on Earth. Seamounts begin as volcanoes, rising up from the seafloor, growing with each eruption of lava from Earth's molten core. They grow into massive mountains and sometimes become islands. Seamounts are so large and heavy that over millions of years their weight pushes the surrounding crust down, sinking them into the ocean depths. More than 10,000 seamounts dot the ocean floors. Most are unexplored. Life on seamounts is colorful, diverse, and abundant, delicate and stunning, singular and rare. Intricately constructed coral and sponge gardens boast wild colors. These stunning life forms need the rocky slopes that seamounts provide to survive and grow. Fish and invertebrates use these habitats for food and shelter. Ocean currents take nutrients up past seamount slopes, seeding surface waters with food for life. Predators large and small hunt in these fertile surface waters. Seamounts and the life they host are invaluable treasures, but they are vulnerable to human threats. Join us as we dive into the deep to learn about the importance of seamounts and the need to protect them. Off the coast of Central California, in the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary, stands a huge mountain rising from the seafloor thousands of feet below the surface. Named Davidson Seamount, its slopes and geothermal springs are a haven for life.
Usually every dive there's something new comes up, something that you're not expecting, a species that you hadn't seen, a kind of a complex, maybe a garden of octopuses, and you go, that's strange, I wonder why they're there.
Scientists have observed extraordinary life forms at Davidson Seamount. A recent exploratory dive astounded these researchers. In 2018, scientists from the Ocean Exploration Trust and Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute found thousands of octopuses along cliffs and crevices in Davidson Seamount where geothermal activity warms the water. Many of the octopuses appear to be females, ferociously guarding their eggs. Brooding may take up to 4 years, making them vulnerable to threats. Deep seabed mining or oil exploration could devastate the entire population. After the eggs hatch, baby octopuses may face grueling fights to survive, as we see in this shrimp attack. Without strong protections for their habitat, these amazing animals may not survive. Davidson Seamount is permanently protected from fishing, mining, and oil drilling. But the other 62 California seamounts have no permanent protections. To protect the unique marine life they host, we must create lasting protections for seamounts now. California has one of the most stunning mountain ranges in the world, the Sierra Mountains. With their dramatic profiles, cliff faces, valleys, plateaus, and gorges. Few people know that California's impressive topography extends beneath the ocean's surface.
Hi, everyone. I guess we stopped the video. These were our Seamount videos produced by Marine Conservation Institute. And I wonder if you recognize that famous voice, Peter Coyote. We are deeply indebted to him for doing this for us. He's got the most magnificent voice. He was on many Ken Burns PBS films, very famous. So we're grateful to Peter Coyote. And I hope that you're enjoying your Blue Park cocktail. It's delicious. Please join us tonight in creating real change and helping the ocean to recover, because the ocean has the power to heal our planet. And remember, you can double your giving tonight because all of your donations will be generously matched by our board of directors. Let this be the time when we stand up together and make a difference for real change. I have the pleasure tonight, I think we're gonna go right into our gala now. And for those of you who have just joined us, we've made a delicious blue sparkle cocktail. Good evening and welcome to Marine Conservation Institute's 2020 Ocean Gala. All of us have been through so much this year, but tonight we are here to celebrate, and we are so delighted you have joined us in honoring wild ocean places and the announcement of our 17th Blue Park. I'm Angela Nardo-Morgan, Development Director for Marine Conservation Institute, and tonight I have the great privilege of introducing our Master of Ceremonies for the evening, the incomparable Mr. Marshall Behling. After a career as a successful tech entrepreneur, Marshall joined Marine Conservation Institute as a board advisor, and he's been on our team for quite a few years, and we are truly lucky he is with us. Marshall is an avid outdoorsman. He sails, hikes, bikes, and a little secret, he's a wicked good tennis player. Everyone, Marshall Behling.
Thank you, Angela, for your tireless efforts along with the awesome team at Marine Conservation Institute. And thank you, Dusky, for all that you do for us in Sonoma County and for getting us into the spirit tonight. I'm sipping what I'm going to call a blue parkatini, and it's in my themed little ocean martini glass that my brother gave me. So I'll be sipping on that as we go through the program. I hope you have poured something for yourself. So welcome to those that are just joining our gala. I'm not Captain Crunch, as my family now calls me, and I'm not a scientist, but I'm very lucky. I get to hang out with the great scientists at Marine Conservation Institute, including Dr. Lance Morgan and Dr. Sarah Hamid. The whole team at Marine Conservation Institute believes in facts and the scientific method. They are ethical and contagiously optimistic. They give me hope and encourage me to take action. This is my pay it forward work to help quell my own guilt over my own carbon footprint. Why are all you here? Because you care. And I want to thank you all for your celebrate an exceptional example of a marine protected area that has worked hard to bring back biodiversity and abundance to our oceans and has become the latest recipient of our Blue Park Award. These blue parks are truly exceptional places that are critical to maintaining healthy oceans. And that's why Blue Parks program is so important. Yes, this is a big idea, and you are here to witnessing it tonight. I'd like to introduce you to the real captain of Marine Conservation Institute, our president, Dr. Lance Morgan. Dr. Morgan grew up where the Pacific meets the West Coast, stretching from San Diego to the Puget Sound. His father had something to do with that, given that he was a Navy submarine commander. This also explains Dr. Morgan's keen interest in the mysteries of the ocean. Dr. Morgan's graduate work had him studying wild orcas in British Columbia, diving some of the most pristine and beautiful places in our oceans, and surveying deep sea corals as an aquanaut and a submersible pilot. Dr. Morgan is a highly respected leader in international ocean conservation community. He is in the room when ocean policy is being discussed. He's chairman of the Deep Sea Conservation Coalition, a steering committee member of the High Seas Alliance, a member of HopeSpot Science Council, and the champion of the California Seamount's Hope Spot that you saw featured in some of those videos. As president of Marine Conservation Institute, he oversees our largest initiatives, staying focused on the goal of saving wild ocean places. Jacques Cousteau was an inspiration in Dr. Morgan's youth, and his red stocking cap that he's sporting tonight is a shout out to that connection. Welcome, Dr. Morgan.
Hello, good evening, everyone. As Marshall pointed out, two men had a great influence on my life and career. So in tribute to both tonight, for Jacques, the cap, and for my father, Captain Morgan, a cocktail and a coffee mug. Shot of rum.
I had to
I am that you're with us tonight and welcome you to our Ocean Gala. It has been a very strange year, and to all of those impacted by COVID-19, our thoughts and well wishes are with you. Marine Conservation Institute has been fighting for and winning ocean protection for 25 years. We have done this with the support of you and our many partners, some of which you will hear from tonight. We bring strong science and sound policy to protecting marine biological diversity. The corals, fishes, sharks, seabirds, whales, and all the tiny critters that they rely on. But we need so much more. We brought the scientific case for conserving the northwestern Hawaiian Islands to Presidents Bush and Obama, an instrumental piece of the effort to be sure, but conservation includes humans, and we often connect much more strongly to nature through art and culture. Papahanaumokuakea is a shining example of what can be achieved when we all work together. Tonight, we will get a flavor of all of these perspectives. I am very honored to introduce Solomon Gohohalahala, Uncle Saul, as he is respectfully known in Hawaii. Uncle Saul is a native Hawaiian elder, able to trace his ancestry back 7 generations, and a community leader, ensuring Hawaiian culture is reflected in the conservation and management on equal footing with Western science of Papahanaumokuakea Marine National Monument, as well as other sanctuaries and refuges in Hawaii. Uncle Saul's background is diverse, and he has a wealth of experience. He has served as an elected public official, was appointed and elected chair of Hawaii Sovereignty Commission, worked as the executive director of the Kahulave Island Reserve Commission, and is empowering the youth of Lanai to become stewards of their island. He also crewed on the Hokulea, a traditional Polynesian double-hulled voyaging canoe from Hawaii to Rapa Nui, also known as Easter Island, and that is a vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean to be exposed on a canoe, navigating by the stars in traditional ways. I have the great privilege of serving with Uncle Saul on the Pacific Remote Islands Marine National Monument Advisory Group, and we all are enriched and inspired by the wisdom he brings to our conversations. We are connecting Uncle Saul live from Lanai this afternoon. Mahalo, Uncle Saul, for sharing your time with us.
E nā hoaloha, nā kumu, a me nā oihana. Aloha kākou a pau. Warm greetings and aloha from Hawaii. I am honored to be a part of today's Marine Conservation Institute's virtual Ocean Gala, and I would like to begin by offering an oli, or chant, that calls upon our ancestors, or kupuna, to assemble in our midst. We call upon our elders for infinite guidance, wisdom, knowledge, and courage to lead in the tides of change. So I ask of all of you to join me in a moment of quiet meditation and thought, and I'd like to offer this chant for all of you. Thank you. E ho mai, ka ike mai, luna mai e. O nā mea huna noia o nā mele e. E ho mai, e ho mai, e ho mai e. ho mai ka ike mai luna mai e. O nā mea huna noi au o nā mele e. E ho mai, e ho mai, e ho mai e ho mai ka ike mai luna mai e. O nā mea huna noi au o nā mele e. E ho mai, e ho mai, e ho mai e. As a native Hawaiian elder for Papahanaumokuakea Marine National Monument, Reserve Advisory Council, and community member of the Pacific Remote Islands Marine National Monument, and the current chair of the Hawaiian Islands Humpback Whales National Marine Sanctuary Advisory Council, I'm very privileged and I'm honored to advocate for the care and protection and preservation of all our oceans, our lands, and all that have been created on this planet Earth. As a native Hawaiian, we have been gifted with an old chant called the Kumulipo. It is a song, a story of creation. It is our mo'oku au hau, our genealogy, and that of all creatures, beginning with the birth of the first coral polyp. And of all things that inhabits this earth, the lands and the sky and the heavens, we are given responsibility for their care. So as the younger sibling, we the people have an inherent responsibility to care for all these things. We are the Kumulipo, we are the Ponahakeola, we are part of the circle of life. So perpetuate and continue and to move forward. Aloha and thank you for allowing me to be a part of this.
Thank you, Uncle Saul. That was very nice. I greatly appreciate the Hawaiian tradition of starting with a grounding and reminding us all the sacredness of what our efforts are. So thank you for that. So Marine Conservation Institute had a big idea 10 years ago around the world. Tonight, we will be announcing our 17th Blue Park, as you heard. But first, let's take a tour of the ways you can take action, help protect our oceans, and be part of our Blue Park effort. So let's take a look at the Give Butter page, which we're going to pull up here right now. And if you'll notice in the upper right middle, you'll see Donate and Tickets. If you click on that, it'll take you directly to, if you've already signed up and got your gala ticket, you can just say, no thanks, and I'd just like to donate. You click on that and it'll take you to the donation link and you're on your way. And also notice if you scroll down below the window, you'll see this thermometer where it says we're up to $22,584. I love it. So that's great news. We're making progress towards our $50,000 goal. So thank you all for making that happen. And just noticed that we have, it looks like Tom and Jill McClary just contributed $1,000. That's fantastic. And I see a note attached asking to make sure Jeff Smith, one of our board members, matches it. Oh, I love it. I love the challenge. Thank you, Tom and Jill. Keep the stuff coming in. We'll start talking about it throughout the rest of the night. Also know that we have a silent auction with some extraordinary items in it, including a week-long stay in the theater district of Ashland, Oregon, that is. We have a sailing trip on San Francisco Bay. We have a penguin encounter at the aquarium of the Pacific. We have private tours, dinners, wine tastings, outdoor adventures, fine art, luxury vacation rentals in the Mediterranean, and a lot more. So please find the link on that Give Butter page and make sure you make it to the auction. It's going to be live until December 10th. So I suggest you pour yourself another parkatini and find what it is that's most interesting to you, start bidding on it, and know that it'll close out on December 10th. So you still have some time to engage with that. Also know that the first 100 people to give $50 or more will get a Blue Park Buddy. These are handcrafted whales and octopuses made by our generous event sponsor, Happy Little Whales. Raffle items also will be available. They include the Hawthorne book, and it's called Between Worlds. And those will become on our raffle that we'll explain a little bit later on in the evening. And one of the other raffle items is from our celebrity guest tonight, Ian Shive. He has contributed his newest book, Refuge, America's Wildest Places. It has been a bestseller since its launch in October and has been featured in the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Smithsonian, CNN, and on Adobe. I'm a big photography buff, and I was blown away by Ian's images and his storytelling. Refuge is the culmination of years of Ian's exploration in America's network of national wildlife refuges, including the atolls of the Pacific remote islands, Rose Atoll Marine National Monuments. Note that the Marine Conservation Institute was instrumental in working with the Obama administration to get both of these monuments expanded into some of the largest protected areas in the world. I've had the privilege of hanging out with Ian this week. Ian fully immerses himself in nature in order to create stories about the best nature can be. Ian has had at least 2 dream careers in his young life with many adventures of a lifetime type experiences. And he has this storytelling talent to turn his images and films into award-winning pieces that have been featured in publications including National Geographic, the New York Times, and Outside Magazine, just to name a few. He's also known as the leading chronicler of America's national parks. So you can start to see the thematic tie-in and why we wanted really to have Ian participate tonight. This year, Ian launched a new series on the Discovery Channel titled Nature in Focus, where he explores our planet and is the host as well as the executive producer. In 2019, Ian led several expeditions to some of the world's most remote coral atolls for the IMAX 3D film Hidden Pacific, which he directed and produced. He's here tonight with a preview from this spectacular underwater film. Ian, welcome, and I'm looking forward to this.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here, and thank you for such a great introduction, Marshall. When you sum it all up like that, it feels like a whole lot of stuff, and you wonder where did I get the time to do it all? But thanks to everybody for having me here tonight as well. It's always great to have a reason to get out of the sweatpants and get dressed up during these really challenging times for everybody. I think it's the longest period of time that I haven't traveled. I think in over 20 years I've been on the road, and usually it can be as much as 200, even 300 days a year on the road. But thank you to the Marine Conservation Institute as well, and everyone who has helped put this incredible event together. And as everyone has reminded you tonight, that this event is about sharing great experiences. I'm about to share my expeditions with you, but also your support is incredibly important. Any gifts that you're able to make to the Marine Conservation Institute really help further the work that supports the places that I get to go photograph, that I get to go film, and that we'll see here tonight. It ensures that those high standards of science and research continues, and that our wild ocean places and blue parks, of course, are always protected. And so I hope to share a little bit of that with you tonight. Of course, I want to share some of the I'd say some of the best examples of protected ocean really in the world. And it's a place, they're places that few people ever really get to visit. And as you heard in the introduction, I've got a new book out about America's National Wildlife Refuge System, Refuge, America's Wildest Places. But a big part of that book is about the marine national monuments. And I feel that a lot of people don't really know that they exist. We've heard about Bears Ears and places that are easy to maybe reach here in the continents of the United States, places that you might be able to just throw on your sneakers and go for a hike. But marine national monuments, there's 5 of them, one in the Atlantic, Northeast Canyons and Seamounts, which if you joined us earlier, we had a little bit of a video about that. And then 4 in the Pacific. One really isn't very easily visitable. That's Marianas Trench, the deepest part of the ocean, where fewer people have been to the moon. But 3 are visitable. And I've been very fortunate to be one of the only non-governmental people in the world to go to all 3 of those marine national monuments. And so I'm going to share my screen with you a little bit and talk a little bit about some of the photos that I've had to take, and you guys should be good. And, you know, as Marshall said in the beginning, like my career began in national parks, and they were the thing that I knew. And I think that it's very easy to stick to the things that we know. But the places that we don't know, and the places that are maybe are part of a little bit of our history, we may have kind of heard about, and our marine national monuments are so incredibly important. And the first place that really kicked it off for me was the opportunity to go to Midway Atoll. And Midway is on the far end of Papahanaumokuakea Marine National Monument in the Northwest Hawaiian Islands. And Papahanau is an incredible area. The Marine Conservation Institute began working there, I think, around 2005, building the science that supported the creation of President Bush's expansion of Papahanau, or creation rather, of the Marine National Monument, and it further extending into all the other marine national monuments I'm about to show you. But Midway is an incredible place. It's important and sacred to Native Hawaiian culture, and it is and comprises of, I think, about a dozen or 13 islands, I think, but it's a 1,200-mile stretch of ocean. And places like Midway, where a large part of the world's lace-sand albatross nest, the most famous of which I just heard today came back, Wisdom, she's 69 years old, is giving birth. This is where they nest. And so these islands are incredibly important, and these seabirds, years later, I saw them traveling in the Aleutian Islands, 3,000 miles away in Alaska. And so these islands and these marine ecosystems really connect our world. And they were so fascinating to me because they really changed my whole perspective on birds and bird behavior, and just how intimate they were with each other. They're monogamous for the duration of their lives. You know, they're incredibly smart. They're pretty large, especially when you're spending 12 hours a day in the field like I am, you know, just sitting there with my backpack and camera looking for behavior. But unfortunately, they are also dealing with the challenges that our whole planet is really dealing with. In this case, plastics. This is a lace-sand albatross that has passed as it decays. You can see how many bottle caps and things are in its stomach. And obviously we have a lot of other issues: ocean acidification, climate change, a lot of things that are really taking on you know, our world's oceans, and they need our help. But a lot of the species, like the Hawaiian monk seal, rely on these places, spinner dolphins in the lagoons, and just an incredible ecosystem. One of the other marine monuments that I was fortunate to go to was Pacific Remote Islands Marine National Monument. It's about the 1,200 miles, almost the opposite direction of Midway, southwest of Honolulu, Hawaii. And this is Palmyra Atoll. It's an archipelago of about 52 islands that were shaped and reshaped by man over the years through world wars and different things. But now they are part of our protection legacy as part of these marine national monuments. And these are some of the best examples of protected ocean in the world. The corals here, from what I saw on my expeditions out there, are incredibly healthy. Their abundance of biodiversity is tremendous. We saw all kinds of different sharks: black tip reef sharks, lemon sharks, dusky sharks. I think we saw over 6 different species of shark on Palmyra alone. And that's just one of several islands that are part of Pacific Remote Islands Marine National Monument. You also have Wake Atoll and Jarvis and Helen, and so there's a lot of other islands that are part of it. But marine monuments are not just islands. They're not just the places that are easily visited, but of course they're about the surrounding ocean, these vast areas of ocean, which may sound large, and they are large areas. I mean, when you talk about an area that's 1,200 miles long, it is exceptionally large. However, it's been determined it's the bare minimum to keep these species and to keep these ecosystems healthy. The third marine national monument that I got to visit is Rose Atoll Marine National Monument and National Wildlife Refuge, which is about 185 miles east of American Samoa. The island itself, here in the middle of this ring of coral you can see with the lagoon in the center, is only 16 acres around. It's very small. I got to camp out there. You know, the wind would blow. We'd get hit by, you know, the tail of a cyclone. It'd be cold, believe it or not, to a degree, and rainy and windy, and all of a sudden the heat would break out and the sun would come back out. But one of the most mesmerizing things about this particular island was it was almost like the Yellowstone of the Pacific in many ways, because as the tide would go out, these crustose coralline algae would emerge, these pink like rock formations with some corals on them. You could actually walk out on, careful of course not to be in the corals, with these little pools of water, little turquoise pools of water everywhere. And you could see the upturned coral from storms over the years inside the area. And so you could go out and explore and photograph and see coral and fish and things that were in there, and these little waterfalls that would form over time. But then as the tide would return and the lagoon would naturally refill, that same area you were walking on would become almost like this giant clear blue swimming pool with giant clams on rocks and all these other creatures that are around in the atoll. So it's a pretty incredible area, and it's one that I'm really lucky to have had the chance to go out and photograph, and to spend all these trips. It was almost 7 expeditions out to the different islands has really changed my perspective of what it really means to be a protected marine environment. And so I'd love to share a little bit of footage as well, if we could cue the video. We've got some shots here as well that we've put together from those islands, and I can talk a little bit about what we saw. But the Pacific Ocean, as it says, is of course home to some of the largest protected coral atolls in the world, and there are many of them, but most people don't realize that these are part of America's public lands and waters. These are no different and no less important than the things we may be familiar with, places like our national parks. And so it's important that we continue to look at how do we continue to protect these. And a lot of these areas, places like Rose Atoll and Palmyra and Midway Atoll, the northwest Hawaiian Islands, where these incredible moments take place. And I got back from the last of the expedition, I found out that the current administration was going to challenge them and was interested in opening them to commercial fishing and other types of commercial exploitation, possibly for the energy industry or otherwise. And so my experience out there at the time was one of thinking, well, this is an area that's protected. That means it's forever. And then when I returned, realizing that it isn't. It's something that needs our constant stewardship. And that's something that organizations like the Marine Conservation Institute are spearheading, and what makes it so important, because there's no other way for us to really think about the long-term impacts that we can have as stewards ourselves as individuals. So again, your support tonight is really important. Really important in protecting these places. And we're talking about almost 756 million acres of ocean, islands, and atolls. And coral reefs, they may only occupy 0.1% of the world's ocean floor, 0.1%, but they provide a home for 25% of all marine species. And these islands are the center of that life. They are the heart of those marine ecosystems. So with that, I'd love to, we can certainly let this continue to play in the background, but if there's any questions that I can answer, you can go to @SavingOceans on Instagram or my Instagram, @IanShivePhoto. Certainly send in some questions and we'll try and answer those. But Marshall, if you're there, I don't know if there's anything you want me to cover in particular. It's always hard to sum up 7 expeditions to remote islands in 20 minutes or less.
Okay, I do have one question, and you brought it up in regard to how many people have been to the moon as compared to have explored some of the deepest parts of our oceans. So can you explain to me why we're so enamored with Mars and yet we know so little about our own oceans?
Yeah, it's a really great question. I think there's almost sort of a complacency of like, well, we kind of know what's there. And, I think a lot of folks maybe think about, the oceans as well, it's still sort of accessible. We've been there, but I don't know. It's a great question that I'm not really sure the answer for it. I mean, I think there's maybe people feel like they're pushing a greater boundary or there's an even greater first. I mean, it's sort of like a lot of society today, which has become about one-upmanship and not necessarily about really truly understanding the value of the planet we call home. because there are so many questions really to be answered. And, you know, we're learning so much from reefs, and we gain so much. I mean, just think about the medical benefits. I mean, at Northeast Canyons and Seamounts is providing a tremendous resource for the future of medicines and cures for all kinds of things. So the ocean really, you know, I think we have to get away from the idea of one-upmanship and bravado, and really focus on understanding and respecting our planet and exploring it thoughtfully and seeing, you know, understanding the true value of it.
I think we need to start the discussions with Uncle Saul really grounding us. If you don't have anything on your Instagram site yet, I've got another question.
Sure, go for it.
So you're an amazing storyteller. So let's go behind the scenes. Share one of your more entertaining stories about the logistics of covering these remote areas, especially given that Hidden Pacific is shot in IMAX 3D. So
yeah, the footage you're looking at right now is all footage that was shot with very heavy, complicated cameras. I mean, the truth is it has gotten a lot easier with today's technology, but it's still not that easy. I mean, these are highly inaccessible places. You know, it took a lot of coordination, a lot of planning. Partnerships are really the critical component of how you get there and how you work there, working with scientists in the field, you know, and all of that stuff. But aside from the technical administrative side, which is its own expedition in many ways on its own, you know, I think that it's always a challenge to just keep things dry. You know, I mean, the upside is I always joke around that, you know, this was the best job ever, because it was over the course of 2 years I made this film, and I think I was, you know, barefoot in board shorts for the better part of 90% of that. So it's hard to kind of call it a job knowing that. But, you know, we would deal with all kinds of elements, and moving approximately 400 pounds of gear, sometimes almost daily, and putting it on small skiffs and getting caught in rainstorms and having to be prepared for, you know, the kinds of things we'd endure. You know, on Palmyra Atoll, I think I lost 12 pounds over, you know, like a little over 2 weeks, just trekking through the jungles with, you know, looking for robber crabs to film. And, you know, you're just constantly, if you're not sweating it out in the jungle, you're definitely burning the calories out in the ocean. You know, exploring the reefs and everything around it. And, you know, like you see these giant mantas and the schools of fish that you have here. And it's you know, it's very easy to just spend hours out there in a place like that. But I think keeping everything dry, keeping the salt water and the salt out of the electrical components is always helpful. We only lost one not terribly expensive camera in the scheme of things. For all of the cameras we have, it was the cheapest of them that we lost in the process of it, and that was just more out of my own clumsiness than it was out of the challenge of the shoot. But it you know, getting there is also, you know, very, very arduous. Rough seas, small boats. You know, there's not a lot of information about weather and what's happening, you know, out there, and so you're really subjecting yourself to the elements.
And were you staying on boats at the time, or were you staying actually on the atoll?
It depends on the place. So like Midway Atoll has a, you know, it seems almost sort of semi-permanent because of the researchers and everything that's going on there. But it depended. Like Rose Atoll, we would camp, and you know, we would spend a couple nights out there at a time. We were never on Rose longer than about 48, 72 hours, counting the day we would leave. Just because that's where cyclones are born in the Pacific. And so we'd always have the boat refueled, ready to go. We wouldn't spend huge amounts of time out there. You know, on Palmyra, they have a research station that the Nature Conservancy operates. And so we worked with the researchers and the Nature Conservancy there, and they were incredibly helpful. And again, it's really where partnerships and nonprofits all really play such a critical role. And as a photographer and a filmmaker, you know, it's really, you know, I'm playing the role of educator and connecting people to these places. And so it's important that I understand what these places are about and how the ecosystems are all connected. And but it's you know, it's really great that you know, Palmyra is protected, and that, you know, all of these different islands across all of the marine monuments that are protected.
Okay, and I know there's one more thing. You're making Hidden Pacific available through your distributor for all of us to view, and that's going to be available until noon tomorrow.
That's right. Yeah, Hidden Pacific is amazing. It's a 40-minute film. You know, we've certainly felt the impacts of COVID because You know, the film was just really rolling out into theaters. We were in 44 cities as COVID also rolled out. And so places like Los Angeles, we shut down on March 16th. It opened on March 15th. And so, you know, that's been a huge disappointment, but it's also a great opportunity for everyone here to have an opportunity to finally see Hidden Pacific. It's meant for the giant screen. It's meant for IMAX. You know, but I certainly encourage you to watch it because it is really one of the best ways to experience our marine national monuments.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. I've seen the trailer, but I'm looking forward to seeing the whole feature film. You're such a good storyteller. I want to thank you very much for all of that you've contributed to tonight, as well as what you and Lance have done historically. It's really great that you're part of the family. We all appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for the opportunity to share my work. Your support means a lot.
It's fantastic. I can't wait to thumb through the book.
Thank you.
Hey, speaking of fun stuff, we actually, you may not have known this, some of you that dialed in late, but we had a contest from our cocktail party, and we had people upload the images of their cocktails, and we were going to pick one of those cocktails images out, and that person is going to win one of Ian's Refuge books, this award-winning bestseller book. So are we going to see the picture? All right. Oh, nice. Very nice. Okay, Nikki, congratulations. You will be receiving one of Ian's best-selling Refuge books. I'm so glad that we found a wonderful picture for that. So also know there's other prizes to come, including the Seaworthy Attire winner. So please take your pictures of your costumes, upload them. Here's the link that you can upload them to. I don't know who that dog is or who owns it, but that is pretty cute. So take your pictures, send them in. There's more prizes to win, including that. We're also going to have a raffle, and we'll explain that here in a little bit. And don't forget, you can always use the Give Butter page to navigate through everything else that you need to know and do. So donate. That sparkling light blue link right there at the top is where you can go to donate. And down through the lower part of that homepage, you're going to find all the other links to things like the trailer, as well as the live auction items. So the silent auction is going to be live until December 10th, so make sure you check that out as well. Okay, so at this point, I'd like to welcome back Dr. Morgan, who's here to talk about blue parks, as well as to welcome our next set of guests. Dr. Morgan?
Great. I stripped off my outdoor gear and have dressed up for the gala. Ian, that was tremendous. Your images and film look amazing. I can't wait to watch Hidden Pacific. I'm going immediately afterwards, straight over there. I've been told from Ian, the pro tip, do not watch it on your phone. Make sure you watch it on a big screen. It's IMAX, people. And also make sure when it comes to an IMAX theater near you, you get out and watch it. Okay, so MPAs, Marine Protected Areas. It seems a simple idea to protect special places in the sea. But when managing human activities, things get complicated fast, really fast. Our experience in establishing marine protected areas has highlighted that some of the most challenging work begins once an area has been designated. And I will tell you from experience, designation is a lot of hard work. The unsung heroes in all of this ocean conservation are the managers and communities that work tirelessly day after day to achieve the outcomes that we all expect when an area is protected. Too many times, the conservation community has walked away after the big announcement has been made and the paper has been signed. This can lead to big headlines, but can also result in paper parks, not protection where it matters, on the water. Our Blue Parks initiative was established to showcase outstanding examples of the work needed to bring the outcomes for marine life, coast communities, and our ocean. Our hardworking and dedicated staff, led by Blue Parks Director Dr. Sarah Hamid, working in conjunction with an international team of esteemed marine scientists, evaluates these conservation efforts. Regulations, management activities, monitoring, enforcement, budgets, community engagement and outreach, all of these matter a great deal. Blue Park Awards, Oscars for the ocean, are given to the management teams that demonstrate this excellence. Our Blue Park system consists of 16 outstanding marine protected areas and represents conservation successes from coastal Tanzania to the Channel Islands in California, to the far reaches of the Galapagos Archipelago, and to the coral reefs of Indonesia. These sites cover nearly 1.7 million square kilometers of ocean, and that's an area roughly 4 times the size of California. And the system continues to grow and connect these special places, marine life, and the people who are champions and stewards of them. Tonight, we have with us a very special guest, Christina Mittermeier, to present this year's Blue Park Award. Christina is another of our treasured partners who uses her wealth of artistic talent to champion our ocean. She is a passionate conservationist, a highly acclaimed National Geographic photographer, and along with her partner, Paul Nicklin, is co-founder of Sea Legacy and Only One. We are extremely grateful they are working with us.
The 2020 Blue Park Award winner is Abrolhos Marine National Park. I've personally been to Abrolhos and I can attest just what an amazing place it is. I am so absolutely enthralled by the fact that it's being recognized this way. Abrolhos Marine National Park protects the unique coral reefs of Abrolhos Bank of the coast of Brazil. These coral reefs are home to an exceptional number of endemic species found nowhere else in the world. The islands of the Abrolhos archipelago form an important nesting site for seabirds like boobies and red-billed tropic birds. Sea turtles, dolphins, and humpback whales feed and mate in the area. This is a place brimming with life, and we are so glad that Abrolhos Marine National Park is protecting it so effectively and setting an example for the world. Congratulations to the communities and managers who have worked so hard to make Abrolhos Marine National Park a blue park.
Congratulations to Abrolhos Marine National Park. Accepting the award with a video message is Fernando Repinaldo Filho, head of Abrolhos National Marine Park.
É com enorme satisfação que recebo a notícia que o Parque Nacional Marinho dos Abrolhos foi contemplado com o prêmio Blue Parks em 2020. São 37 anos de história desse que foi o primeiro Parque Nacional Marinho do Brasil e berço para importantes iniciativas para a proteção de espécies marinhas e criação de novas áreas marinhas protegidas. Saber que Abrolhos atingiu os resultados técnicos e científicos que comprovam seus relevantes resultados para a conservação marinha em nível internacional é muito gratificante. Além disso, espero muito que esse prêmio sirva de estímulo e reconhecimento para todos que fazem o parque atingir seus resultados. A toda a equipe do ICMBio, autoridades públicas como a Marinha do Brasil, entre outras, empresários e profissionais que dedicam suas vidas em apresentar as belezas do Parque Nacional ao público, cidadãos que ingressam e apoiam o Parque Nacional por meio do voluntariado, ONGs, universidades, além de moradores do seu entorno, que respeitam as normas e acreditam no parque como uma importante ferramenta para o desenvolvimento social e econômico do entorno. Vida longa aos Blue Parks, é um prazer estar com vocês.
Again, congratulations to Fernando and his team at Abrolhos Marine National Park. This is now the 17th gem in our global system of blue parks. I believe Fernando is online with us this evening and some of his team, And I want to express to all of them our gratitude for your commitment to protecting this outstanding place. Obrigado. Marine Conservation Institute's science and advocacy efforts provide a loud and clear voice for strong and effective conservation. And while we are excited about the progress being made, we are acutely aware that the current area of ocean protected is not nearly enough. For the last few years, we have been reaching out to our partners, working on establishing new MPAs and providing support and guidance to their MPA planning efforts. Science-based criteria help ensure that the outcomes of conservation efforts are on track from the beginning stages of planning and designation. Our model is to support them. We are letting them lead efforts on the ground, and we are providing our experience and scientific expertise as a way to help them. Blue Spark projects to date include Inhambane Bay in Mozambique, the Birdwood Bank in Argentina, and the Piedra del Viento Sanctuary in Chile. Tonight, we are announcing 3 new Blue Sparks, areas that are committed to achieving future Blue Park status. So Blue Parks have made the status, Blue Sparks want to get there, and of course, we want them to get there. These new areas include Cabo Pomo National Park in Baja California, Mexico. As mentioned before, Pacific Remote Islands Marine National Monument in the US, and the Seamounts here off our very own coast of California. These areas provide exceptional conservation opportunities to become future blue parks and expand the process of restoring our ocean. Our goal is protecting at least 30% of the ocean by 2030. Marine scientists believe this is the minimum necessary to address the threats to our ocean and mitigate the worst impacts of climate change. We are pleased that President-elect, more than pleased, I mean, we are ecstatic that President-elect Biden had this goal as part of his election campaign, 30% for nature. We are excited to move forward in the US and will continue to grow our investment in blue parks around the world. Please look for more announcements in the coming months as we push to accelerate efforts to protect our ocean. The task is urgent, and we need your support to make it happen. As I have highlighted throughout the evening, the task is enormous, but not insurmountable. Thanks to you, to our many partners, and our great colleagues. As John Lennon and Paul McCartney famously wrote, and Ringo Starr sang, "I get by with a little help from my friends." You are our friends. Finally, this evening, I mentioned earlier my childhood hero, Jacques Cousteau. But today, I want to tell you, I am inspired by our next guest as much as anyone. I think she's inspiring to all of us. Our final guest tonight really needs no introduction. Dr. Sylvia Earle, also known as her deepness, is Time Magazine's Woman of the Year, a National Geographic Explorer in Residence, founder of Mission Blue, a tireless ocean champion, and a great friend of Marine Conservation Institute. To help us grow the Blue Park system and safeguard our ocean, we need everyone working together. Sylvia is here to share her commitment to working together on Blue Parks of the future.
I'm Sylvia Earle. I'm an oceanographer, an explorer, founder of Mission Blue. And as some of you probably know, I've been a member of the board of Marine Conservation Institute and now an emeritus member of the board of MCI. So you know, I am a champion of MCI and am really pleased to share with you the news that MCI and Mission Blue are scaling up our collaboration. We've been working together for years, and now we're going to make it even a stronger collaboration with what MCI has developed with Blue Parks, what Mission Blue has been doing now for the past 10 years or so, identifying places for protection around the world called Hope Spots. We now have 130 plus of them with champions, empowering communities to get behind exactly what MCI is also championing, that is protection for the ocean. As never before, the ocean needs help. I'm a witness, a lifetime of looking and observing as a scientist the decline of places around the world that I have known when they were in much better condition, and now this. But I've also seen this. With protection, health can be restored. And to reward those with being dignified as Blue Parks, recognize the work that people are doing to really understand what it takes to protect the ocean, to give back to the ocean, to restore health to the ocean. So the concept of doing whatever we can, individually, of course, but also working together to encourage individuals, communities, governments, countries working together for the high seas, the places we have already really worked strongly together. Papahanaumokuakea Marine Reserve is one example. The California Seamounts. Look, wherever MCI is working, we're behind you. Wherever Mission Blue is working, I know MCI is behind us. So we're just trying to dignify it with a bit more of an outward collaboration. And so I want to thank Lance, your whole team, all of Mission Blue, all of those who are gathered to support MCI. This is a moment in time when all of us have to do everything we can. We're going to lose the chance if we don't hurry to establish protection for the places that remain in good shape and to restore what we can while there is time on our watch, and make peace with the ocean, peace with nature. Maybe even peace among humans can follow. Thank you for what you're doing. I look forward to being out there and working with you to make a difference for the ocean and for people everywhere.
I appreciate Dr. Earle's demand to make peace with the ocean. Our oceans are getting another big boost with John Kerry being appointed by Joe Biden's climate czar. John understands the significance of our oceans. He recently said, "You cannot protect the oceans without solving climate change. You cannot solve climate change without protecting the oceans." So I do think that we are going to see a much bigger impact, a much bigger understanding of what we need to do with the oceans. And I think it's going to become part of our daily conversation. So it's going to make everybody aware of what we really need to do. We cannot save our oceans alone. As Christina Mittermeier says, we need all hands on deck. We need your help to accelerate the success of our Blue Parks. As Margaret Renkel said in the New York Times, doing something is not nothing. It's the difference between a heartbeat and silence. There are many ways you can invest in Blue Parks. So as I said earlier, check out our silent auction where you will find great items for vacation homes to hosted dinner parties. It's open until December 10th. Check your email or go to the Give Butter page and you'll find the link there as well. So go there tonight and bid on your post-COVID outings. Start looking forward to something once this is done. And don't forget, Ian's IMAX video, Hidden Pacific, is only available to view until noon tomorrow. So pour yourself another blue parkatini and watch it tonight. The link is also on the Give Butter page. And as well as here, you can see it on the screen. So Blue Park Buddies, the 100 of them will go to the first people that donate $50 or more. So look forward to that. There they are. Aren't they cute? And also know that the raffle is closing tonight at midnight. Every $50 or larger donation will earn you an entry. First place is Ian's Refuge book, which we've talked about. And second place is the Henthorn book. I'll give us a minute there to get the Henthorn book up there. There it is. Between Worlds. He's an international award-winning artist who works in high contrast black and white photography. It's a visual journey where earth, sea, and sky unite. And third place is some cool Marine Conservation Institute swag, including custom pint glasses and a t-shirt. And you can find all of this on the Give Butter page. It's the landing page that we've been using all night long, including that link in the blue box up there in the top where you can donate. And down below, you can see the thermometer, how well we're doing, and we're getting there towards our goal. So jump in, let's help us get to that $50,000 goal. And there's other links down on the bottom to the various things. So there, it's all there and made it easy for you. And so let's see, and then I can pull it. So do we have the ocean attire winner that we can throw up on the screen? There we go. Look at all of them. Nice. So, wow, people got dressed up better than I did. So all I had to do was look like Captain Cook. So thank you all for all of that. And Angelo, thank you for being the big winner. I hope those teeth aren't too sharp. So I want to take a moment as well to thank our sponsors that contribute a portion of their annual profits to our mission, including Chantecaille and their gorgeous skincare products. And thank you to Chantecaille for your $2,000 contribution tonight, as well as I know that you're one of the auction items in there. They are pretty amazing skincare products. And thank you, SandCloud, as well, for your donations to the live auction. And Navis, thank you for your $5,000 contribution tonight. That is fantastic. Thank you for all of that. Thank you, Black Pig Meat Company. I know our boys think your bacon is the best in California. And the Happy Little Whales, thank you. You can find those as well as a lot of other Happy Little Whales items on Etsy. So take advantage of these opportunities right now and get involved. Thank you all so much for taking the time to become informed about our oceans and blue parks. Your gifts will ensure that Marine Conservation Institute can deliver the highest standards of science and research, protect wild ocean places, and help us expand our network of blue parks around the world. You make this critical work possible.